Good morning. Today we are starting with genetic code. Now, replication, transcription of a nucleic acid uh, was copied to form another nucleic acid. And these processes, they were very easy on the basis of complementarity. But the process of translation, it requires genetic information from a polymer of nucleotides to a polymer of amino acids. Now, any complementarity exists between the nucleotides and amino acids. So, is there a complementarity between the amino acids and the nucleotides? And nor they can be drawn theoretically. So, nucleotides and amino acids they could not be drawn together. So, what is done? There is some evidences which shows that there is a change in the nucleic acids or in the genetic material, which was responsible for change in the amino acids in the proteins. So this proposition led to the genetic code that direct the sequence of amino acids during the synthesis of proteins. So if we अगर हमने determine करना है biochemical nature of the genetic material and the structure of the DNA, then the proposition of genetic code was very challenging, and it required involvement of scientists from various disciplines, like physicists, organic chemists, biochemists, geneticists. So it was George Gamow, a physicist. He said that there are only 4 bases. So he said that there are only 4 bases and they have to code for 20 amino acids. So the code should constitute a combination of these bases. So the code should have the combination of the bases. So he suggested that in order to code for all the 20 amino acids को कोड करने के लिए, now what is to be done? The code should be made of 3 nucleotides. So here we can see that this was a very bold proposition, because the combinations of 4:3, that is 4 into 4 into 4, that is 4 to the power 3. This is not 43 actually, 4 to the power 3. That is 4 into 4 into 4. That would generate around 64 codons, and these are many more codons than required. So a proof that a codon was a triplet, it was a more difficult task, and the chemical method, it was developed by Hargobind Khurana. Again, a very proud Indian scientist, Hargobind Khurana. He developed his research in synthesizing RNA molecule with defined combinations of bases, which are homopolymers as well as copolymers. Later on, Marshall Nirenberg, he also provided the cell-free system for protein synthesis, and that helped the code to be deciphered. So then is Severo-Oka enzyme, that is polynucleotide phosphorylase, was also helpful in polymerizing RNA with defined sequences in a template independent manner, that is the enzymatic synthesis of RNA. So finally a checkerboard for the genetic code was prepared, which was given in the form of a table. Now this is the checkerboard which was being prepared. Now what are the salient features of the genetic code? The codon is triplet. 61 codons for amino acids and 3 codons they do not code for any amino acids, hence they function as stop codons. Second point is regarding 1 codon codes for only 1 amino acid, hence it is unambiguous and specific. Some amino acids they are coded for more than 1 codon, so that is why the code is degenerate. The codon is read in messenger RNA in a contiguous fashion, so there are no punctuations. So the code is nearly universal. For example, from bacteria to human, the UUU code, for phenylalanine, that is PHE shown here, Some exceptions to this rule has been found in mitochondrial codons and in some protozoans. Now AUG has a dual function. It codes for methionine, MET stands here, and it also acts as an initiator codon. So if the following is the sequence of the nucleotides in the messenger RNA, then what would be the sequence of amino acid coded by it? When we take the help of this checkerboard, we find as this methionine, phenylalanine, they appear like this in the form of this sequence. Mutations and genetic code. Now here we find that relationship between the genes and DNA. That is best understood by mutation studies. When you study about mutation and its effects of the large deletions and rearrangements in the segment of DNA, they are not easy to understand. So it is due to a result of loss or gain of a gene and so a function. So the effect of point mutation is explained here. Classical example of point mutation is the change in the single base pair of the gene for beta globin chain that results in the chain of amino acid residues glutamate to valine. Now it results into a diseased condition called as sickle cell anemia. Now effects of point mutation that inserts or deletes a base in the structural gene can be understood by this example. Like there is a sentence mentioned here, Ram has red cap, and we insert an alphabet B in between has in red and rearrange the statement. It would be as Ram has a red cap. They are generally split up. Now insert two letters at the same place. Now BI. Now it would read as Ram has this again some meaningless sentence. Now we insert three letter together like big. We have here, it changes the reading frame from the point of insertion or deletion, and this is called as the frame shift mutation. The same exercise can be repeated by deleting the letters R, E, D one by one and rearranging the statements to make a triplet word. So from the conclusions, what we draw is that insertion or deletion of one or more base pairs changes the reading framework from the point of insertion and deletion, but such mutations are referred to as frame shift insertions or deletion mutations. Insertion or deletion of three or multiple bases insert or delete one or multiple codons, hence one or multiple amino acids, and reading frame remains unaltered from that point onwards. Transfer RNA. Now Francis Crick has been explained this, that there has to be a mechanism to read the code and also to link it to the amino acids, because amino acids have no structural specialities to read the code uniquely. So he postulated the presence of an adapter molecule that would on one hand read the code and on the one hand, and on the other hand it will bind to the specific amino acid. Now the transfer RNA, now called as the soluble RNA, sRNA, was known before the genetic code was given, but its role as an adapter molecule was assigned later on. Transfer RNA has an anticodon loop that has bases which are complementary to the code, and it also has an amino acid acceptor site end to which it binds to the amino acid. Transfer RNA specific होते हैं अपने amino acid group में. For initiation, there is another specific transfer RNA that is referred to as initiator transfer RNA, and for stop there are no transfer RNA for the stop codons. So the secondary structure of transfer RNA has been shown here, which also looks like a clover leaf, and in actual structure the transfer RNA is a compact molecule which looks like an inverted L. Now in the translation process, what is translation? It refers to the process of polymerization of amino acids to form a polypeptide. Now, the order and sequence of amino acids is defined by the sequence of bases in the messenger RNA. The amino acids, they are joined by a bond which is called as the peptide bond. So the formation of a peptide bond also requires energy, and in the first phase itself, amino acids, they are activated in the presence of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and they are linked to their transfer RNA by a process commonly called as charging of transfer RNA or amino acylation of transfer RNA. Now, in the two such charged transfer RNA, when they are brought together, the formation of a peptide bond between them with the help of the energy and the presence of a catalyst would enhance the rate of the peptide bond formation. So the cellular factory जहाँ पर ये सब होता है for synthesizing protein is the ribosome. You can see the structure of the ribosome here. Now here we can say that ribosome के दो parts होते हैं, structural RNAs, they are about 80 different proteins, and in its inactive state it exists as two subunits. Ribosomes के two subunits होते हैं, and a larger subunit and a smaller subunit, and when a small subunit encounters a messenger RNA, जब messenger RNA small subunit के पास आता है, then what happens is the process of translation of the messenger RNA to proteins begins. So there are two sites in the large subunits. Amino acids, they bind, and thus they are close enough to each other to the formation of a peptide bond. These amino acids, they are joined together with the help of a peptide bond, and the ribosomes also act as a catalyst. Here 23S-RNA in bacteria is the enzyme ribozyme for the formation of the peptide bond. So the translational unit in the messenger RNA is the sequence of the RNA, and it is started by the flanked by the starting codon, that is AUG, and the stop codon, and codes for a polypeptide. So messenger RNA के पास additional sequences होते हैं which are also not translated, और उनको हम untranslated regions भी बोलते हैं, UTRs. The UTRs, they are present at both 5' end before start codon and 3' end, that is at the after stop codon, and they are required for the efficient translation process. So for initiation, that is for the starting, the ribosome binds to the messenger RNA at the start codon, that is AUG, that is recognized only by the initiator transfer RNA, then after that binding to the appropriate codon in the messenger RNA by forming the complementarity of these base pairs. Just a second. By the complementarity of these base pairs with the transfer RNA codons, and the ribosome moves from codon to codon. Okay, ribosome keep moving from codon to codon, and amino acids, they are added one by one, they are translated into a polypeptide chain sequences, and then they represent the messenger RNA, and at the end a release factor. A release factor binds to the stop codon, terminating the process translation and releasing the complete polypeptide chain from the ribosome. So this is how translation gets completed.